this week's challenge is super logical, which makes logical people like me really happy, and I really enjoyed it as a challenge. So we have all of these assignments for states. So we can have either the entire state having the same assignment. We can have states where we're listing specific zip code areas that have different assignments, and then anything left over is then has a different assignment for it. So it's a logical process of how to go through this. So my thought process was to first assign everything that has just an entire state assignment, because we can just do a join with one join clause on state from our list of entire zip codes. Then we can go through the process of assigning all those that have specific assignments for specific zip codes, and then anything left over we can assign to the rest of the state. So let's go through that process. So we filter out anything that is just saying entire state in this second column here, and we do that simple join based on state, and we can see we get about 6,000 records there, which is pretty simple and easy. Then we follow our false anchor here, so anything that isn't an entire state, we come down and we filter again, and we filter out anything that has the rest of the state in that second column. So we can see that here. All these are just rest of state, whereas all of these are our numeric values. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have each of these values on a separate row. So we'll start by splitting off anything that's got a comma into its own row, and then we'll split anything that has a dash between it into two columns as well. So we use our text columns tool, we use the comma delimiter to split to rows, and you can see, for example, this first row here has split out nicely the way we want it to, and then we use our dash delimiter and split it into two columns, and that's works the way we want it to as well. Our next two steps, we need to make sure that both of these fields, 1 and 2, are integers, so that we can actually generate those rows between them. And the issue with just leaving these nulls in the 2 column would be that when we come to saying, okay, generate all the numbers between columns 1 and 2, obviously a null there would mean it could go on for infinity, which is not what we want. So we want to just make sure that this number in 2 is equal to our first column instead, so that it will generate the numbers between 362 and 362, which obviously will not create any more rows, but that's exactly what we want. We could do that a different way by filtering out all these rows and unioning them back in a minute. It's up to you. So we're just going to do that first step of changing them to numbers. Then we're going to do that step of getting rid of all of our nulls, and now we generate our rows. So it starts with whatever's in column 1, we add 1 to it until we reach column 2. So for example, these first 3 columns, we have now a row for each of 350, 351 and 352, which is exactly what we want. You may notice the error message here. That's just telling us that in columns like this, where we only have one number, so it's between two numbers, we're not actually generating any additional rows. So that's why the generate rows tool isn't happy, but it's actually doing exactly what we want it to. So we're not too worried. So now we can join on these specific zip codes to our remaining postcodes, zip codes that haven't been joined yet from our data there. Sorry, I'm from the UK, so I would say postcode instead of zip code. So then what we're doing is we're taking the first 3 digits of each of these zip codes. So we're making sure that we change them to be a number as well, so that we can make that join. And we join not only on the zip code, but also on the state. Now our join, we have about 17,000, so that's good. We're going in the right direction. We've got about 23,000 joined now, and we know there's about 42,000. So we're getting there. The easiest thing to do next is to take anything that we haven't yet joined of the zip codes and join that to all of our rest of state. So we just need to use one condition on our join tool to join on the state. And that gives us another 17,000 records. So we are very nearly there now. But we notice that if we check our output anchors, okay, that's fine there. But in our left, we've got all of these zip codes that haven't yet been assigned anything. So what could they be? What could their assignment be because they didn't appear in our input dataset? Well, that can be found in our left output anchor where we were doing our joins based on the specific zip codes. And these are all classed as international states, so they all need to have an assignment of B. So instead we use an append tool this time just to make sure that we get that assignment appended to these remaining zip codes. And then we union together all of these purple tools, basically all the 4 purple tools here, and we get our data set which we are looking for. So hopefully that was a fun challenge for you. I really enjoy a logical thought process challenge myself. So thank you for watching.